continental, so it's, this point is like this. One continent is pushing against another continent. The Indian continent is pushing against the Eurasian continent, and we keep increasing the height of the Himalayas. Along Sumatra and Java over here, Java and Sumatra, this is a very tectonically active area. This is the place where we got in 2005 the tsunami that killed 250,000 people. Why? Because there was an earthquake, an underwater earthquake, and as soon as the water came close to the shore, then it became the huge tsunami that killed so many people. But always there is going to be, but see what's happening here. So many subduction zones. So this area always is going to be tectonically active. And that's why if you see there, you're going to see hundreds of volcanoes. Okay? And continuously there is going to be something like this until the entire Pacific plate is being consumed, which we estimate is in about 200 million years, or maybe a little bit less than that. And maybe then you're going to cease with the volcanism and so on. Here, Mexico, Central America, like Nicaragua and Costa Rica and the southern tip of Mexico, always volcanoes and earthquakes there. Why? Because this blue plate, the Cocos plate, is subducting under Mexico, or under Central America in that case. In this case, it's not a separate plate, it's the North American plate. So this is subducting under the North American plate, and that's why you're getting the earthquakes and everything else there. What other big events? But you should know the subduction, you should know how to use the legend. So divergence, okay, here, wherever we have ridges, ocean ridges, we have divergence. Plates move away from each other. We show it with the two arrows. If we have two arrows colliding, well, that's convergence. You don't have to worry much for the transport boundary, but you have to know that the result over here, for example, here's the California and San Francisco. What is happening here? We have a transform fault. So as the Pacific plate is moving in this direction, and the North American, take a look at the arrow, the North American is moving in this direction, one slides past one another. That's why we get the San Andreas fault. Here's the San Andreas fault. What created the Rockies? The Canadian Rockies, at least. Vancouver has a beautiful scenery, will continue having beautiful scenery at the expense of earthquakes and possible tsunamis in the future, because of this Juan de Fuca plate subducting under North America. There is Vancouver right there. So by subduction you create volcanic mountains. So Mount St. Helens is right here, and many other volcanoes close to Mount St. Helens. So continuously there is going to be eruptions of volcanoes in that area, and more volcanoes forming, new volcanoes perhaps. Now, if you're in the middle of a plate, you don't have to worry much. For example, here, we are in the middle of a big continental plate. We don't have to worry much about earthquakes and volcanoes. Definitely not volcanoes. Earthquakes, yes, slightly. We're not going to get the 7 Richter volcano, or the earthquake, or the 8 Richter earthquake, because we're in the middle of a plate, of a very stable continental plate. But we're going to get some minor earthquakes because we're next to the Great Lakes. You're talking about an incredible amount of weight that presses on the crust, and from time to time the crust moves and adjusts because of the extra weight. So we have some fault zones. We have one nice fault zone under the nuclear plant in Pickering, for example. And the plant has been built exactly on top of the fault. Great engineering. Unfortunately, this has been done a lot in the US. We only have we don't have too many nuclear plants, but in the US, where they have countless nuclear plants, okay, many of them have been built on top or really close to fault zones. What else? So know how to use or how to make your own little legend to show that there is divergence or convergence or there is some subduction happening, in which direction. Remember the arrow on the subduction shows in which direction, which plate subducting under what other plate. So this is great preparation for the quiz. Plus you have the plates. I mean, you know also you can memorize the plates. So this is...
Are you going to give us the
How
map
do
on
you
the
know
test?
which one's subducting under? No, I know, but they're both pointing at the same direction. Like, how do you know which one's going up, which one's
Do you
going
see the red line?
Dotted arrow.
This is the symbol. This is the symbol for subduction.
Yeah.
Wherever you see the red with the little triangles, this shows that this subducted under this.
Okay.
Are you going to give us the map on the test?
I'm gonna give you a map on the test.
This exact same one.
I'm gonna give you a map, but you have to know the plates.
Oh, we're going to label.
So we have to label the plates, right?
You're gonna have to label plates. Know your plates.
How many plates are there in total?
Arrows, you're gonna give me arrows in some of these areas that I just discussed. Like I'm not gonna ask in some insignificant place of the world. I mean, it's significant for the people that are gonna die there, but in general, I'm not gonna ask. I'm gonna ask for major areas that I just discussed here. So I just went through the quiz, really. Okay, next. So on page, we're on top of 15.